Well, Happy New Year, everybody. It's me this week, coming at you a day late from the regular scheduling programming. Unfortunately, I had a handful of guests bail back to back to back, so left me with no episodes. And it's been almost 2 years since I've done one of these individual episodes, giving everybody an update on the podcast, maybe a little side of what Jake is up to, what changes may be around the corner, and the things that I'm looking forward to. And I think right now is actually a pretty perfect time because my show's taken a handful of shifts over the last almost 3 years now at this point. I began in April 2020. The last individual episode I did, I have the computer right next to me, was April 18th, 2021. And that was episode 108. We're now up to episode 246. So almost 3 years. We're going on about 33 months and almost 250 episodes. It's been quite an incredible journey. Began with The Guest List, which was a Vegas-based show, speaking with entrepreneurs for about the first 170 episodes. And then we shift to crypto and historical NFTs, which I've been covering pretty much the entire year. And now it's beginning to change again. We went from The Guest List to the Jake Gallen Podcast. Probably going to keep the Jake Gallen Podcast name. Maybe it might have to change. I'm now beginning to run out of historical NFT people to interview. And now my brand has gotten a little bit larger since last time we spoke. Twitter just crossed 10,000 followers, which is something I've been looking forward to for many years. Created my Twitter in 2009, and I've always been a big Twitter bull. So a lot of things are actually working out to plan, and I made the right moves. And now I actually work for Emblem Vault as well. So I haven't really got to talk about that too much in detail, so we'll cover that. And some of the changes and some of the things that are coming around the corner. But the show is still going on, I must say. The show is not ending. Maybe the vision of the show continues to change, but my love for networking with different individuals, learning about stories, acquiring information, and the tool that the pod's become. I truly believe that I wouldn't be here today without the podcast. From just a little kid who realized that the pandemic was going to change and radicalize the world, so I needed to get on social media even more and dive into a larger medium of expression other than Twitter. And I came into podcasts. And now the YouTube channel is even gaining a lot of traction as well. Just for some stats before we move on here, the podcast has now hit 55,000 downloads, audio downloads, since April 2020 across 245 episodes, which doesn't account to a lot, right? It's about 200 downloads per episode. I think so, right? Yeah, it's about 200 downloads an episode. And then the YouTube has another 85,000 views and over 10,000 hours of watch time. So you can't tell, and the podcast platforms don't have the ability to tell you how long a guest listens to, only if they click onto it, because, of course, the streaming is, or the podcast is downloaded through somebody's phone, so there's no way to do that unless you invade their privacy. YouTube, we get a little bit better stats, and we're up to almost 1,500 subscribers, 1,470, although I don't put too much emphasis on the YouTube as much. I put it there because some of the shows tend to be a little bit more informational and visually stimulating with a lot of tutorials, where the first 170 episodes when it was the guest list was strictly just all in person. The last year and a half or so has been a big transition to remote podcasts, which was something that I was against for quite a long time. But as the show changes and as my brand grows and as life goes on and changes and is twisted in every different way, you have to adapt to the things that are presented in front of you. And especially in the crypto world that moves so fast, you got to hop on these trends and do it with conviction, or you will just be completely swallowed up. So here we are now. I'm working at Emblem Vault. I'm gaining a lot more notoriety to become to be a NFT historian, and then of course to just be, just a voice within the crypto space or NFT land. And I've begun growing out of this historical NFT narrative and maybe more into like an NFT historian or just somebody who talks with just larger voices. I refrain from saying influencer. People can say influence, but I'm just somebody who educates, and I like to network with people. So with Emblem Vault now, working in the tech business is fun. It's chaotic because things change. We're a small team. Emblem Vault is a team of 5 or 4 to 5. And we have some helpers too. And I was hired with Adam McBride, or should I say partnered. It was more of a partnership than anything. We want to build a historical NFT marketplace, but as I've begun to work with Emblem Vault now since November 1st, officially, we negotiated a contract for a few months prior to that. I've begun to realize how awesome this technology is, and I'm aware now of how large this technology can have as an impact within the crypto space. Began as a DeFi product, it's turned into an NFT product. It's kind of both, but we realized that we had to really narrow down and focus on a specific component of Emblem Vault because of its generalized nature that can be used in multitudes of ways. Mine and Adam's expertise is this, digital antiquity space. So that's where we're focusing now with curated collections. And for the last few months, we've been catching up on a lot of the branding and marketing and content that had been missing and communication from Emblem Vault. And, that's to know, and that's to not discredit Shannon and Don and Eric, who are the 3 people on the team. But it's tough to have, a product that's traded 40,000 ETH. You can say probably pretty comfortably $50 million over the last 2 years in secondary volume to 3 people, especially building a groundbreaking technology that does not exist anywhere else. So you're really on a land of your own. And I've come to learn too in the crypto space that it's better to specialize. It's good to have general knowledge, especially in crypto, but to specialize first and then become a generalist, I think, is the better approach, where traditionally it was better to become a generalist and then specialize. So now that I've been putting a lot more content out, I've been writing a lot more Medium posts, more research. That's, some of these posts are taking anywhere from 10 to 30 hours to put out. Between creating the graphic and trying to perfect as much information as possible, even though it's never possible. I've just come to realize, put a V1 thought piece out, and then take the critique, take it on the chin, and then make the edits and put out V2. And then that's generally usually pretty satisfactory to satisfy everybody for the history and for my own beneficial knowledge. So, between that and then the last 2 months of catching up with the content between the Medium posts and working with Adam to build chemistry, and then with us two to work with the Emblem Vault team to build even further chemistry, it's taken a little bit to get to, especially somebody who's the youngest on the team by about 10 years and the only person who does not have kids, right? So I tend to move a little bit faster than everybody. And so it's been a large growing period for myself as well. And but we've done pretty well, right? I created 16 Medium posts, tutorials, or 20, I guess, no, 16 with the YouTube Medium. Adam's put out some of the Medium posts and YouTube videos as well. We've had to set up all the back end from the different marketing and content pieces, and then we've had to communicate with the community, to Shannon and Eric, and then figure out like how they best work as devs. As a lot of devs, they just like to be head down, especially old school devs who've been in the game for so long. Shannon's been in crypto since 2012, where he worked on the security team at Mastercoin. So all the longtime crypto fans and BTC class of 2011 and 12. Very familiar with that product, or maybe even the first real altcoin boom in 2013. So So we've begun to build it all. I think we're really on the same page now. We have a big vision, and our focus is curated collections, and that should be launching here within the next few weeks. And coinciding with that is going to be a show that Adam McBride and I are going to launch together, which is still going to be, or the name is still TBD. It's going to be a bi-weekly show. Hopefully it can morph into a daily show, but we're going to move very slowly. And it's going to cover, Emblem Vault, the events of crypto, some of the specific niches of the historical NFT space, education, and we want to offer more opinionated content because the historical community tends to be a little verbose and quite direct, or I should say, how to describe this? Maybe a little bit sarcastic or too serious. And so we want to try to add some more fluff into it, make it a little bit more entertaining, maybe make it a little more, bring some allure into the space, and try to bring some of those modern NFT properties that you see in the PFP crowd over to our space. So with that being said, this show's not ending at all. I will be sharing the audio content from that show to my feed, as well as I will still continue to do the Jake Gallen Podcast. Hopefully one per week is still the plan, with this other show being once or twice a week to begin. So you begin seeing 2 to 3 episodes on this RSS feed weekly. There could be some periods though where it might only be the Jake Gallen Podcast, or it might only be the Adam McBride and Jake Gallen Show. That's the running title. But I also have to balance all of this with, still trying to build my personal brand. As we said, this was a partnership with Emblem Vault. We're not being acquired by them. We're building our separate brands, are working with Emblem Vault, and we're all going to build this product together. So it's been quite a fun experience. So that's going to be a big change. You'll see more content here, but maybe a little bit of a less static plan as we begin to set this show up and kind of get our groove down and get the voice of the show, and Adam and I co-hosting a show together, because it is going to be streamed live, and it's going to be recorded live on YouTube while streamed to Twitter Spaces. So it's going to be a synonymous video and audio experience, so people can ask questions on the show or watch visually, or just hop on the Twitter Spaces, if you're out at the gym and you just want to tune in and listen to the things that we have to say. But I still want to interview different individuals. There's a lot of people in Vegas, outside of the historical NFT space, that I want to interview. So the guests might begin stretching into other crypto markets, whether it's NFT founders or crypto traders or, internet personalities, maybe even just some real interesting people. I mean, for God's sake, I had Andrew Yang on the podcast, right? That's probably been the highlight so far from one of the biggest guests. And that was in person as well. And, I get to now hang out with him every time he comes to Vegas, so you get to build these cool personal relationships. And during this time, over the last 250 episodes, and I also put out a lot of different YouTube type content too during this mix. So there's probably over 100 different videos on there, trying to be more video or YouTube like, trying to be better with my presentation in front of a camera, and how to really just catapult the brand and just catapult the things that I may want to do in the future. I'm really excited about the future, honestly. This year it's going to be really good. It is to peak bear market. At Emblem Vault, we understand that. I understand that. And I just have to make some of these small tweaks, because I've learned that you need to be malleable. You need to adjust with what's happening, whether it's professionally, practically, or just your general interests and curiosities. And my curiosities begin to lean into other directions in the crypto space. That also coincides with my brand growing as well, and just the interest and some of the other long-term professional things that I want to do. Some things directly with Las Vegas and crypto products. Some personal life ambitions that I want to continue to pursue. And I am aware that, when I make these transitions, people have asked me, hey, Jake, you interviewed 150, 170 Vegas-based people. How does your audience feel that you just made this random transition to NFTs, but more specifically historical NFTs, right? Because it doesn't make sense. It was a tough decision, but at the end of the day, I'm the brand and I'm following my own curiosity. I don't really care about the views as much. I did in the very beginning, but if I've learned anything is that, 200 200 audio downloads an episode on average, and then, another 100 or so. So maybe you're getting 300 different people who are listening to an episode. Those who stuck with me through, who are from Vegas and kept listening, I appreciate you guys a lot. Hopefully I can offer some rewards down there in the future. Hopefully you've also learned a lot of things, right? As well, because it's taken quite a shift. And those that are in the historical community who are listening, I appreciate you guys for being able to learn with me, learn and uncover all of these different personalities, these creators, the traders, the collectors, right? And also try to take on some very serious conversations. I did my best to reach out to all of the different individuals on both sides or every side of the historical and vintage and early NFT space. There were many who turned down the offer to come on the show, whether it's for personal reasons or they're just not comfortable being in front of camera or they're anon, right? There's so many more variables that are introduced into being a podcast guest in the crypto space than it is being in Vegas and interviewing, casino owners. And although very successful people, it's a much different variable. So hopefully this next variable that comes in will be exciting, right? You can get to be a partner in a awesome product that's traded, 8 figures in US dollar value while introducing new and cool options while also doing a new show and exploring. So I just wanted to come on here and kind of catch up with everybody and to let you know that some things will be introduced, but please bear with me. This podcast to me, it's always been kind of like an audio journal, to say the least. I've always enjoyed writing and I've always gone back and forth writing in my life. I used to have stuff on Tumblr. I used to have stuff on MySpace blog back in the day. Unfortunately, I think a lot of those ended up getting deleted because of those websites. I dabbled writing with mediums. I have different books that I've tried to write, but never got published. Maybe I will one day. So I've always enjoyed that. But what I'm really thinking is generally translated through the conversation, no matter who's on the other side of the camera, whether it's Andrew Yang or somebody from the Wynn family in Las Vegas, to, ghost hunters, stars, to, just the general blogger or just one of a good friend who I have on the show, or a historical NFT creator who didn't find any traction and we're trying to give them a second opportunity to see their original vision out. It doesn't matter who it is. The things that I'm thinking of is generally translated through the podcast. And I tend to maintain that because I've actually never missed posting one episode in a week. So we're going April 2020 will be 150 weeks straight of episodes. So we're probably about 130 straight weeks of episodes. And posting this is very important. And we're going to continue on with the show, and we're going to continue building this. And I'm going to now begin to open up the podcast to a larger variety. I had to turn down a lot of different individuals over the last year because my focus was historical NFTs to help first understand what was really going on, and also to help give myself a stamp of credibility to be viewed as somebody who is quite knowledgeable, but also for somebody who's generally tries to evaluate situations pretty fairly. And of course, we all have biases, but to be as objective as possible. And if I am being subjective, to then present why I am, being a little biased in there, and let everybody view the information and come to their own determinations. And that's something that I still hold near and dear to my heart, and it's something that I continue doing. And we're just going to now be a little bit more generalized And, maybe I will lose some more audience members. Maybe I will gain more after that. But the one thing it's shown to me is that it's really a resume builder, or that you call it the traditional resume builder. But it's more of a growth tool and a growth hack. I kid you not, will not be here today without this podcast, without being able to refine my negotiation skills, my conversational skills, my linguistics, right? Just my verbiage that I continue to build on every day. If you go back to episode 0 of this podcast from April 2020, it's pretty bad. I'm not going to lie. There's a handful of times I've considered deleting it, but I'm not, because that's also part of the history, and that's how the show goes. I won't take any more of your time. Come in quick. Some things are going to be changing. You're going to see some new introductions. At the end of the day, this is Jake's Audio Bible, right? Maybe that's what I could change the name to. It's just a directory of me interviewing and having conversations with very interesting people that I have determined to either be pertinent to my own life, pertinent to my own growth history, or there's something special about them that we need to acquire some information from them to be able to present to the public. And sometimes those people only want to talk to a handful of people, or honestly, they just want to be in front of a camera where it can be determined, or it can be published in the public domain for others to take it in. So I just want to thank everyone for this incredible journey. 10K Twitter followers was really awesome. The podcast is still rocking. Life is looking pretty good. I'm sure it'll be looking a lot better 6 months from now when we have the show up and running on a regular basis. And we've launched a lot of these curated collections, and then we're on to the next step for this historical NFT marketplace and beyond. And my own personal brand is grown, and I've learned a lot pursuing my own curiosity for wherever this podcast will take me. So without further ado, I just want to say thanks again. Happy New Year. Hope everyone had a great holiday. 2023 is going to be awesome. And I'm excited to see what's on the other side of that. So see you guys soon. Thanks for listening and watching. We'll catch you next time.